Hey kids, we're super excited that you're here. We're starting a new series called Campfire Stories. So it's some very thrilling stories we're going to be going over in the next few weeks. This week we're going to focus on Daniel 3 and the fiery furnace. I'm certain you've heard it, but we hope to teach you something you've never heard before.
Good morning, Galilee. I'm Jedediah.
And I'm Yedidiah.
And we're here to bring you the news on Channel 7, the Galilean Gazette. The holiest news you'll find on your tablet. Today's episode, we are starting a new series called our Campfire Stories. And now Campfire Stories are a great time to sit down around a fire and share great adventure stories or fun stories, funny stories that we've had in the past. And we're going to kind of dive into that this week as we start this new series.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. I brought some logs here.
You brought some
Yeah,
logs?
because we want to start a fire.
Oh.
Luckily, I have this one and this one here. And been reading up to figure out how to do this. And
Okay.
if I soak this log in some water, it'll help spread the fire when we get it rolling. So
your plan is to soak the logs in water,
Yeah,
therefore they'll light better?
I've seen it. People throw water on it and it goes...
I'm pretty sure they use gasoline when they
that's
throw it
dangerous. Water is the way to go.
That you just rubbing two logs together is not going to work.
I don't think I had the right angle.
Anyway, so as we start this Campfire Story series, we're going to take a look at the first story. And remember, we're going to, over the next few weeks, look at the most amazing stories that the Bible has. And this first one we're going to jump in today is about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and the story with the fiery furnace. This is an amazing story with a lot of cool stuff in it. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to send it right over to Barbara Wawa, who's going to kick us off. Barbara, what do you got?
Thanks, guys. It's true. I'm here in Babylon at the palace of King Nebuchadnezzar. He is the king who defeated the Israelites and took them captive. He has them serving in his palace. These young men, I heard their names are Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, are forced every day to serve a man who doesn't believe in God at all. They're every day challenged to take a stand for God. I see the king's over there now. I wonder what he might be saying.
Now listen closely. Be sure to get all of this. I want to make a statue that looks exactly like me. 90 feet tall, 9 feet wide, all made out of gold. And you know what? Let's have a huge party around it. And every time we play music, people must get down on their knees, bow down, and worship our gods. To worship this statue, that's what we will do. And anybody who doesn't, because there's probably going to be people. Yes, anybody who doesn't will be thrown into a fiery furnace. Yes, that's exactly what we'll do. Now let's go, get to work, get this started. Yes, this is such a good plan.
Can you believe what we just heard? Did King Nebuchadnezzar really say he wants to build a statue of himself? Oh my word, for others to bow down to? I can promise you the Israelites are going to have a hard time with that. I wonder what they're thinking. I mean, how can they do that? They want to take a stand for God. I'm just not sure. Hey, I see some Israelite men back there right now. I'm curious to see what they're talking about.
Guys, King Nebuchadnezzar really thinks of himself as a god.
I'm not even really sure what he's doing.
I mean, did you guys hear him? He wants to make this huge statue of himself, which I think is just a terrible choice. And honestly, that's only really going to affect us and how we do things.
Yeah, there is no way I am bowing down to a statue.
Yeah, no way.
Not at all.
But I do know that God stands with us as we take a stand for him.
I kind of figured they may not be too supportive of this. I wonder what will happen. This is not good news for those boys. But you heard them say, God takes a stand with us as we take a stand for him.
Still going at it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could really use some help. Wait a minute. I don't know why I'm just realizing this now, but Bob's not here.
Oh.
He's not in the Where is he?
Yeah, so I sent him out a little bit ago, 10 hours maybe, to get some more firewood.
You sent him out 10 hours
he should be
ago
back
this morning
anytime.
to get more wood? Don't you
Yeah.
think he should have been back by now?
No, he's fine.
Well, what if he gets lost or
Impossible. I've trained him. He knows exactly where to go. He's good with directions. I guarantee
You trained him. That makes me feel no better. You're the one who got lost in the grocery store last week.
There was 2 candy aisles. I didn't realize.
Oh my goodness. All right, well, I hope Bob returns soon. Kids, let us know if you see Bob anywhere. You know, the more I'm thinking about this, 10 hours is a long time and it's only going to get later and darker. I think it's about time we create a hotline. So kids, if you see Bob anywhere, please call this hotline. You'll see it at the bottom of the screen. Let us know if you find him because it's been a really long time and we're getting really worried. So kids, as we get back to the story, we're going to see that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did not conform to what King Nebuchadnezzar said, and they stood against what he was saying. And a lot of us, we can find that in our own lives. We'll face difficult situations or things that get in our way, and even though we may not have to worry about a fiery furnace to be thrown into, we still feel peer pressure and things from friends and maybe at school or at home, wherever it is, that put us or force us to try and do something that is not right, that is wrong. But we need to stand up in those situations, to stand up for what is right, to stand up for what Jesus says we should do and who he says we are. And we're going to get right back into the story, but we're going to see how that God stands with us as we take a stand for him. And we'll see that as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego continue to do that. Barbara, let's send it back to you.
Guess what, everyone? Rumor has it that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego have some enemies.
Hey, did you see what happened to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
Yeah, I did, and I think I need to tell the king about it.
Yeah.
Whoa, I just happened to be walking by. Stop, that's mine. I just happened to be walking by and heard that you wanted to tell the king something, and, well, that's me, so what did you see? What is it?
You know Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
Yes, the boys from Israel. They're super smart, they know everything, and yeah, they work here in the palace.
Yep, them. when the music played, they didn't bow down.
What?
And you know what you said you were going to do. Anyone that didn't bow down to the idol would be thrown into the fiery furnace.
That's it! Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego! I want them here in front of me now! Go! Go!
And they ratted them out to the king when they didn't bow down. They said to the king, "King, you remember what you said. You better keep your decree. They didn't bow down. You must throw them into the fire." This is going to be a terrible day for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Is it true that when the music played that you three failed to bow down and worship our gods, or even more importantly, the idol that I had created, you failed to do that? Be careful how you answer, or I will throw you into a fiery furnace. And let me tell you, I will keep my word.
King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into a blazing furnace, our God is able and will deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from you.
And even if he doesn't, even if we come to our fiery deaths, just know that we will never worship your gods. We will never bow down to your terrible statue.
I changed the order. Turn the oven up 7 times hotter, and I will have each of you thrown in and tied up until you burn. Now, let's do it. Now!
It's true. I just found out. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego have been ordered to be thrown into the fiery furnace that has been turned up not once, not 2, not 3 times hotter, but 7 times hotter than ever before. It's terrible. This day is just going out of total control. Right now, I'm going to send it over to Shelly Grace, who is interviewing the guard who has been ordered to turn the heat up in the furnace. Let's send it over to her, guys.
Hi, this is Shelly Grace, and I am here at the fiery furnace, and I'm here to interview one of the guards of the fiery furnace. And he just received an order from the king to turn it up 7 times hotter than any other fire that he has had. So let's get a word with him. Hi. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
I know it's okay if I ask him a few questions. Now, the first question I have for you now, you just received word that the king asked you to turn up this fire. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I know it's correct because I saw the order being delivered myself right from the castle. Now, tell me about this furnace.
It's really...
I know it's just not an ordinary furnace like you would have heating up your home or anything. This is like a big building, and there's shooting flames coming out. And man, it is getting so hot. I can feel it right now. Now, let me give you just a little advice. Can you take just a little bit of advice?
Sure.
Okay, little bit of advice I have for you is don't get too close to the door when you open it. Back to you.
Man, as we continue to look at this story, I mean, I think of just in our own lives, it can be really difficult sometimes to take a stand for God, even in our simple everyday lives or different situations. And as we'll see, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they had to worry about a king and a serious threat of being thrown in a fiery furnace. What do you think about that?
That would make me feel like I was just fitting in and that I was just doing whatever everyone else was doing to be comfortable.
Yeah.
But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they stood and they would only worship the one true God. They didn't care what the king decreed or anything like that. They just did what they thought was right, and they wouldn't bow down to any other God except for the God that they worshiped.
Yeah, only the one true God deserves our worship, and that is our God, Jesus, our Savior, God, Heavenly Father. He is the one who deserves our worship. Let's get back to the story and see what's going to happen next. Back to you, Barbara.
Shelly Grace and I are here reporting live at the palace. Can you believe what an awful day this has been? Rumor has it the king has ordered the furnace to be turned up 7 times hotter than ever before, and they're bringing Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego here now.
I'll tell you what, I was just at the fiery furnace, and I was talking to one of the guards, and let me tell you, it was hot.
So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were tied up and thrown into the furnace, which was turned up 7 times hotter than it had ever been before.
Are you seeing this?
What?
Look at the furnace.
Yes, we've done this before, guard. We've been through this. I threw 3 people in, tied them up, and now they're burning. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4? Who is the fourth? They're not even tied up anymore. One looks like this. I don't understand. I've never. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, come out of the furnace. Come to me.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire, and the royal's advisors crowded around them. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was the hair on their heads singed. Their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them. Then King Nebuchadnezzar said,
Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the God that sent them an angel to save them from that fiery furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego trusted in their God. They went against the king's command, the king's decree, and they continued to follow their God and not worship any other gods, but continued to trust in them, and he delivered for them. You know what? Therefore, from this day, I decree that any nation or any language or any tongue that speaks or goes against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that their houses be buried in rubble and they be cut to pieces, as their God can do other things and everything that other gods cannot. Looking at that story, what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego went through, I mean, we can learn and see that it is not easy sometimes to stand up for God or to stand up to do what's right. But kids, I want you to hear this, is that we can be encouraged and know that in any situation we're in, whether we're struggling or not, God is going to be with us, and he's going to help deliver us, just like he did Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were in the fire, they got tossed into the furnace, God continued to stay with them, and he was in the furnace with them in the midst of a bad situation. He delivered them and never left them, and that's what he does with us. He never leaves our side.
Yeah, and God will be with you, whether it's on the playground, at home, in your classroom, and just like he was with me with building this fire.
He was with you building this fire. That's your fire?
Yep.
Well, there's no doubt that God was actually with you, but kids, just remember, God stands with us as we take a stand for him. Have a great night, everybody.
Hi kids, welcome to Craft Time with Miss Shelley. This week's craft is super fun. You're going to get in your email a sheet that you're going to color. You can color with some crayons, you can color with some markers or some colored pencils. You're going to cut out the circles and glue them onto maybe an old pencil if you have one laying around. And you're going to see that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and somebody special is in the fire this week with them.
Hey kids, this week's memory verse is coming to us from Psalms, so let's get right into it. Come, my children, listen to me, for I will teach you the fear of the Lord. This is Psalms 34:11.